So who is the right person for an avoidant? Who's the right partner that they can make it work with? If you're dealing with a dismissive avoidant or a fearful avoidant that leans heavily dismissive, the right person doesn't exist. When they self-sabotage a relationship, they will often rationalize it to themselves and say, when I meet the right person, I won't feel this way. I won't feel the urge to end the relationship and run away. The problem is, every time they get into a relationship with a partner that is emotionally available, a loving, consistent partner, it triggers them and they feel the urge to run. The partners that don't trigger them are emotionally unavailable, such as other avoidants, narcissists, people along those lines, because there's no threat of emotional intimacy in that relationship. Their emotionally unavailable partner has their walls up, so they can keep their walls up. The problem is that relationship is unhealthy and unfulfilling, and that eventually fails as well. The dream partner that they fantasize about is one where there is no threat of emotional intimacy with this person. It is surface level, light all the time. There are no disagreements, no conflicts. They're always on the same page, and no expectations, meaning their partner doesn't expect anything from them, doesn't have boundaries, doesn't demand anything, doesn't demand their time, and never holds them accountable. And they can come and go and get their validation when they want on their terms without having any pressure to give anything of themselves in return. That would be the right partner, but that person doesn't exist in the real world. There are always expectations in a relationship, and a person that is emotionally available and loving is going to want that effort and energy reciprocated in return. They're going to want their partner to show up for them. They're going to want things to be deeper than surface level. A person that wants things to be surface level, well, that person's emotionally unavailable, and that relationship is not going to work out because it's unfulfilling. So essentially, every relationship that a dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant that leans heavily dismissive, every single relationship they get into is inevitably shaped to fail in one way, shape, or form. It is either going to be unfulfilling or it's going to trigger their attachment wounds. And until they actually self-reflect and work on themselves and really recognizes their own insecurities, their own fears of vulnerability, their own fears of rejection, their own wound of shame, until they recognize that this is what's causing it, they will spend their lives one failed relationship after another, constantly in pursuit of this right person, getting frustrated why they can't just seem to find the right person, not recognizing that they've had great partners, they've had great opportunities that they've sabotaged and pushed away because of their insecurities that they're not even aware of because self-reflection is very difficult for them. This comes from a wound of shame. It comes from that consistent childhood emotional neglect. Growing up in households where you don't talk about feelings and their own feelings were rejected, and they personalize this, growing up to feel defective and unlovable. It's what drives the entire attachment style. That's the wound of shame, of defectiveness. The fear is if I lower my walls and let my partner in and get vulnerable, they'll reject me. I'll get ditched. I'll get hurt. And that's also why they struggle to look within, because taking accountability and acknowledging wrongdoing in their mind is the emotional equivalent of saying, yep, look, I'm defective. I'm worthless. So in order to avoid that wound of shame, avoid exposing it, avoid feeling it, they keep an emotional distance and they avoid self-reflection, and they'll do mental gymnastics to pin the responsibility of their behaviors onto others so they can avoid that wound of shame. But as long as they are avoiding that wound, they will never find that perfect person, because that perfect person doesn't exist. The relationship that doesn't trigger them doesn't exist in some way, shape, or form, whether it's with an emotionally available partner or an emotionally unavailable partner. The relationship is set up for failure with a severe avoidant that is not working on themselves. It's their own wounds, not their partner's faults.